From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, January 11th. It's going to be a mild day today, but not as much sunshine. We're looking for temps to rise into the upper 40s, low 50s in some areas. But again, a cloudy day, might see a couple showers, nothing major, and most of us will not. But just keep that in mind. We have had so much breaking news this morning. Most recently, we've had breaking news that affected us here, but also everyone really across the country. The FAA sent out an announcement around 4:18 this morning that it had experienced an outage in its NOTAM system. That is its notice to traffic emission system. So it's how basically the FAA communicates with pilots. At that point, all flights nationwide were grounded. Right now, I'm recording this at 8:30 this morning. Flights are still grounded. The last update from FAA was that it is testing the integrity of its systems, and flights will be grounded until at least 9 o'clock this morning. That is Eastern time. We've also heard from Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary. She says that the president has been briefed on the situation, and as far as anyone can tell at this point, it does not appear to be a cyber attack. There is an investigation ongoing to see how this disruption occurred. But again, last word, flights are grounded until 9 o'clock this morning. We've been watching the boards at the Indianapolis airport and other major airports, Chicago, LA. Flights are delayed. So keep it close to wishtv.com. We've got links there and we've got constant updates regarding the situation there. Also our Twitter page. So if you've got a flight going out today, make sure you are aware of everything that's going on before you head to the airport. Also, more breaking news. State police say a man is in custody here in Indianapolis after leading officers on a chase, then barricading himself on the interstate. The barricade happened on 465 on the north side near the Michigan Road exit. Police say it started as the Fishers Police Department was watching a house with a person of interest. Officers saw that person get into a vehicle and take off. Fishers PD then started to follow him and say he fired at officers within 3 minutes. That's when the chase started on 465. Pendleton officers joined in. At some point during the chase, a female passenger was dropped off from the vehicle. Police detained her and kept chasing the suspect. Police think the chase ended between Michigan and Meridian when the suspect ran out of gas. He then barricaded himself in the vehicle, shutting down 465 in both directions for about 2 hours. Police took the suspect into custody at 3:40 this morning. We are working to learn more about this investigation, including the suspect's name. And more breaking news. Lawrence police say an officer is out of the hospital this morning after a suspect opened fire. The man accused of shooting the officer is dead. Police say that the officer is expected to make a full recovery. His wounds are not life-threatening. The Lawrence police chief says the officer was shot in the leg during a shootout at a house on Burwood Drive. It's a much quieter scene this morning. It started around 8:30 last night. Police say officers were serving a warrant for a previous shots fired incident. A special weapons and tactics team was deployed because police say the two people being served were known to carry guns and were wanted for previous reports of firing guns at homes. Police say they surrounded the house and someone came out the back and fired a long rifle, hitting the Lawrence police officer in the leg. Other officers started shooting and killed the man. Police say a woman was also hurt in the shooting, but her wounds are not life-threatening. Another Lawrence police officer used a tourniquet on the wounded officer before he was taken to Eskenazi by 2 IMPD officers. He was treated and released this morning. The officer who was shot has been with the Lawrence PD for more than 3 years. The chief says at last check he is in good spirits. As for the people involved in the case, police are not releasing their names yet. Police say that this is an investigation and in its early stages, but anyone with information is asked to come forward. Governor Holcomb is doubling down on his call for more investments in public health and education. He made it clear he wants action on those items in front of all 150 legislators last night during his State of the State address. As we've reported, Holcomb has already released his wish list for this year's legislative session. It includes a massive increase in public health spending and a $1 billion boost to K-12 education. Republican leaders say they will consider his ideas, including one to get rid of textbook fees, but they didn't outright endorse them. On the other side, Democrats say state leaders need to rethink their priorities and that the governor's investments are barely adequate and long overdue. Budget hearings have already begun in the House. Lawmakers have until April 29th to approve the budget. Indiana Senator Mike Braun is detailing the reasons why he's running for governor. He says he believes he can have more of an impact here than in Washington. Braun called Washington dysfunctional and says he doesn't see that changing anytime soon. He also believes he'll bring a unique approach to the position while tackling issues others are afraid to tackle. To seek election for governor, Braun will be vacating his Senate seat. President Biden says his attorneys did the right thing when they found classified documents in an office Biden once used. The discovery prompted a new investigation in Congress. Biden says when the information was discovered in November, his attorneys notified the National Archives and turned the paperwork over. Biden says he has not asked what's in the documents on advice from his attorneys. CNN reports there are 10 items, including information about the United Kingdom, Iran, and Ukraine. The new chair of the House Oversight Committee says his panel is investigating the discovery and how Biden handled classified information when he was vice president. House Republicans are moving quickly on campaign promises to reshape congressional investigations. A Tuesday vote establishes a new panel under the judiciary dubbed the Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. Republicans say they'll use it to look into investigations they consider abuses of power by the FBI, the Justice Department, and other House committees. And the House also voted to set up a select committee to investigate strategic competition between the U.S. and China. The move got wide support from Republicans and Democrats. The panel is a longtime goal of the new Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. And today begins opening statements in the seditious conspiracy trial of 5 members of the Proud Boys. Jury selection took 10 days. The panel will decide whether the group is guilty of conspiring to stop the peaceful transfer of presidential power by plotting the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The highest profile member on trial is Enrique Tarrio, who was the national chairman of the Proud Boys at the time, but was not in Washington on the day of the insurrection. Federal officials say last month's holiday meltdown from Southwest Airlines has prompted thousands of formal complaints. The Department of Transportation says it has sent every complaint directly to the company and is requiring a response to each within 60 days. Southwest also has to honor passenger refund requests within 7 business days if the customer paid by card and 20 days if they paid by cash or check. Southwest says it canceled more than 16,000 flights between December 21st and the 31st. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin could be released from the hospital in the next day or two. That's according to a timeline released by doctors who say they are finishing tests on Hamlin just over a week after his collapse on the field. Doctors say they're trying to find out if he had a pre-existing condition that played into his cardiac arrest. They say his collapse could have been strictly caused by blunt force trauma. As we've reported, experts say it is too early to determine if or when he could return to playing football. And to the Colts, General Manager Chris Ballard is answering the tough questions just days removed from the end of a disastrous 4-12-1 season. Our Angela Morian was at the Colts complex as Ballard offered a blunt assessment.
Look, I failed. I'm not going to sit up here and make excuses. Failed a lot of people.
Colts General Manager Chris Ballard faced the music of a tumultuous season in his end-of-year press conference.
When you're changing quarterbacks every year, it's tough. It's tough on everybody. It's tough on, the team. And, not getting that position settled, has a little something to do with it.
The fans haven't let Ballard off the hook, and he understands why.
Our fans deserve better. They deserve better. And I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for their passion. I'd rather them be passionate than apathetic. And I want to do good for them. And I'm sorry I let them down.
One of the main points of discussion was who will be the head coach for the Indianapolis Colts next year. Ballard says he will be the one leading the charge. And yes, Jeff Saturday is a candidate for that job. Saturday finished an abysmal 1-7, one of the worst points differentials to end the season, especially in the fourth quarter. However, all of that doesn't matter to Ballard.
That's a tough spot, man. I'm not judging him by that. What I will judge, the things I did like were I stayed positive. He kept working, held the team accountable. Sure, he's got things he's got to grow. We all do.
Ultimately, owner Jim Irsay will have the final say in the next head coach. However, according to Ballard, he hasn't been overreaching.
Mr. Irsay lets me do my job. I love working for him. He's a good man. He's a good owner. And he has a lot of experience in this league. There's some decisions that I'll make, and you say, good. Okay, Chris, I don't completely agree with that, but go, let's move forward. And there's some decisions that he'll make that I'll say, look, I don't completely agree with that, but we'll move forward.
One major decision they will have to make is what to do with that 4th overall pick. And will it be moving up to get a quarterback?
We understand the magnitude of where we're at in the draft, and we understand the importance of the position. I do whatever it takes. If we thought there's a player that we're driven to get that makes the franchise and the team better, that's what we would do.
It is clear Ballard wants to stay in Indy and fix the Colts. Angela Morian, Wish TV, WishTV.com, and follow us on Facebook.
2 business headlines. Wells Fargo was once the largest mortgage lender in the nation, but now it's reducing its housing business. The shift will result in a fresh round of layoffs for the bank's mortgage operations, although the company isn't saying how many. The company will now focus on home loans for existing bank and wealth management customers and borrowers in minority communities. Used car prices fell the largest year-over-year drop ever, nearly 15%. That's according to the Manheim Used Car Value Index. In December 2021, used car prices were up 47% year-over-year. The pre-pandemic levels will likely never return, but all indicators point to reaching equilibrium in the second half of 2023. U.S. consumers relied more on credit cards in November, with borrowing rising nearly $28 billion, according to the Federal Reserve. The monthly increase, which was driven by higher rates of revolving credit. Disney is making a number of modifications to its reservation and ticketing system, as well as its annual pass membership perks at its domestic theme parks. At Disneyland Resort, Park Hopper ticket buyers will be able to change parks at 11 a.m. The company's also offering more Disneyland tickets at the lowest rate, which is $104 a day. The changes are prompted by feedback from guests who have complained about rising prices and longer wait times. All right, a beloved Indianapolis restaurant is up for sale. Mug & Bun is on the market for just more than $2 million. The restaurant opened in 1960 and has been a West Side staple ever since. The agent representing the property says the current owner hopes to sell to someone who will keep the business up and running. The current owner is also asking that the most recognizable parts of the business remain intact. $80 million is headed to the Indy Park system for improvements thanks to a grant from the Lilly Endowment. Nearly $72 million will be for improvements to 42 parks in Marion County, $2.6 million for the Eagle Creek Park Foundation, $2.5 million to Friends of Garfield Park, and $3 million to the Holiday Park Foundation. Project design and construction schedule for upgrades and improvements will run through 2025. And finally, the Mega Millions jackpot is now the second largest ever after last night's drawing went without a winner. It is now $1.35 billion. The cash option for that is nearly $708 million. Chances of winning are 1 in 303 million. But some lucky person may win it all on a traditionally unlucky day. The next drawing is this Friday, the 13th. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.